Hey guys, tonight on Beer Geek Nation, we're going to be looking at Bell's Brewing Batch 9000. Hey guys, welcome to Beer Geek Nation. I'm your host, Chris Steltz. Tonight we're going to be doing another kind of special beer. It's a limited edition, one-time brewed beer from Bell's Brewing, one of my personal favorite breweries. It's their Batch 9000. It's considered an American strong ale, which is kind of it's a hybrid kind of style. It's kind of between like an imperial stout, a barley wine. Kind of if you mix those two together, kind of like this ugly stepchild of those two beers, kind of put together. It's kind of what you got. It's not a beer style you see too often. There's only a couple breweries that do it. I think Deschutes does one. I could be wrong. And there's a couple others kind of sprinkled throughout the country that do it. It is gaining more popularity as people do kind of discover it through breweries, the bigger breweries like Bell's and Deschutes throughout the country. So it's starting to become a more popular style that I'm seeing a bit more. But this is theirs. It's in commemoration of their 9,000th batch of beer. If this is actually the first one of their batch beers that I've ever had. I know the 8,000 was a Vit beer, 7,000 was a double IPA, American strong ale. So this is kind of excited about this one. This was the first time I've been able to have one of these. It's really limited. The place where I get beer, I believe only got one case of it, and they sold it by the bottles. This I actually got in a trade, and I got a couple more bottles in a trade, so I'm going to put those away. But it is 11% alcohol, and American strong ale, they benefit greatly from cellaring for the same reason an imperial stout does or barley wine does. They tend to be a little hot, and when I say hot, a little kind of either too alcohol-y or too malty, too hoppy when they're young, and that's the style. But as they get older, everything kind of gets turned down. The caramel's going to come out of the malt. The hops are going to go way down. The alcohol is going to kind of smooth out and blend in with the malt. So you're going to get a better beer, smoother beer. It's going to be a different taste beer. So I recommend if you do find a couple bottles of this, put a couple in your basement and try it 6 months to a year. And it's going to be a different kind of beer. So with that said, again, this is Bell's Batch 9000. 11% alcohol, American strong ale. Let's get into a cup, see how it smells, see how it tastes, and I'll let you know how it is. So right after pouring it, actually right after opening the bottle, I got a huge whiff of black licorice, which it mentions on the bottle that it does have licorice kind of taste in it, and I definitely got that, and I've never smelled that in a beer, so that was a little surprising. And then I was getting a little bit of coffee notes and a ton of like phenol alcohol smell, which wasn't surprising, being 11% beer, big kind of beer that's supposed to have that in their style. So what else am I getting in here? It's fruity esters, definitely fruity esters from the yeast. Phenol alcohol is definitely there. A little bit of malt, not a lot, but the black licorice is definitely there. Almost like a sour kind of note to it, not in a bad way, but there's definitely like a little bit of maybe it's like a hop variety doing that. I'm not sure, but it's a little bit like a sour kind of smell. It's really a lot of dark fruits. It almost reminds me of like if you've ever had 21st Amendment, their Monk's Blood. Similar to that. It's a little bit stronger than Monk's Blood in the kind of the alcohol and the licorice department, but it has that like dark fruit, fig, raisin, plummy kind of Belgian quad kind of taste or smell to it, which is surprising for Bell's. Yeah, definitely has those characters to it. It might be the yeast they used or how they fermented it or the type of grains they used, but definitely I'm getting a Belgian quadruple, Belgian dark strong ale kind of smell. Dark fruits, dark fruits, licorice, phenol alcohol, fruity esters. They're the big ones in the smell. And it smells really interesting. It's funny. It tastes completely different than it smells. Um, wow, that's what they call a complex beer right there. I got right as it went into the mouth. You get a lot of hop bitterness, which I wasn't expecting. Not a lot, but it's a lot bitterer than I thought it was going to be. And as it goes to the back, you get the warming effect of the alcohol, which is pretty prominent. I get a little bit of the dark fruits, figs, raisins, plums, and I get a lot of the malt, which I'm surprised I got. Because you don't smell it, and usually with a big malt taste, you're going to smell at least a little bit of it. Black licorice is definitely there, but not nearly as strong as it smells. That's an excellent beer. That is an excellent beer. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Monk's Blood. If you can get that and you can't get this, you're going to get a similar taste. This is better than Monk's Blood. Let me put that out there right there. But it's a similar kind of taste. Any real big Belgian quadruple, I should say U.S. quadruple, rather than a European one. This is similar in taste. This is a little bit sweeter and a little bit kind of spicier. I get a lot of spice in it. Cinnamon, kind of spice to it. A lot of black licorice, but it's a very complex beer. And as it warms, this is about 45 degrees now. As it warms up, I'm getting more of the raisin and plum. Even from when I first started drinking it to now, I just got a lot more raisin and kind of the sour raisin flavor and plum flavor. And it's an intense beer. Let me tell you, it's interesting. I can also say I've never had anything quite like it. So I can say I'm going to highly recommend this. Scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give this one a 10, just for originality. It's impressive. Yeah, brewed with molasses and brewer's licorice. So that molasses is definitely there with the sweetness and kind of the smoothness of it. It's delicious. So I do recommend, if you can find a couple bottles of this. I think it comes in 6-packs. I think. I would get, if you can get 4, get 6, whatever. Put them in your basement, drink 2, put the rest in your basement. This is definitely a beer that's going to age well. I can already kind of tell it's going to really, the sweetness is going to get turned up, and all the hotness of the licorice and the alcohol and everything is going to get turned down. You can tell just kind of by the initial taste and smell of this beer. So I would definitely do that if you can. So until next time, I'm Chris Steltz, and cheers.